All right, so today I got out while the going was good. We had a wild morning. In fact, the leading gapper, which was up over 150%, is currently down 50% on the day. How does that happen? Oh, wait, I know. It's a Chinese stock. Volatility. All right, let's jump onto the charts. So IFBD, this thing was wild today. First of all, when I first opened my scans this morning at about 6 a.m., 6:30, I saw it had made a big move, popping up to 6 and then back to 4. And I thought, I don't know. I'm not sure if that's going to be one that is going to work. I mean, it's pulled back quite a bit. Yes, it was still up versus yesterday's close of like 270, but I wasn't sure it was going to be in play. All right, come 7 a.m., this thing surges through $5, $6, $7 a share, goes all the way up to $8.90, and I missed the whole move. I missed that whole move because I had sort of written off the scans this morning. And I was like, I'll sit down around 7:30, and then, well, I missed a big move. So that really bummed me out. But I did trade it. I broke the ice on it, and my first trade was actually buying a dip. So we had 2, 4, 5 consecutive red candles. And then right down here, we had this little bottoming tail. So I got in down here at let's see, my first entry was at $6.87, bought 3,000 shares, and it bounced here all the way up to $7.50. That was awesome. I was like not expecting that. So 65-cent win, squeezes up there to a high of $7.50, drops back down. It ended up going lower, curling back up, and in this area was just choppy. So I was like, I'm going to leave it alone. It sells off, and then all of a sudden, look at this pop right here. It squeezes right here from 7 all the way up to a high of 778. And at that moment, I thought, is this thing going to go back up to the new high a day? But it didn't. In any case, my best trades on it were, well, this trade right here. I got another dip trade, let's see, in this area as it broke over 7. It pops up to 648, pulls back. I got in. It squeezes up to 7, dips down, and then I missed this trade, but I got a small dip down here off of like 738, and it popped back up to 750. So in total on IFBD, I only made about $1,400. I missed the big move, but I was shocked to see this level of selling. This thing, I mean, it just totally gave it all up. I mean, this was just a ridiculous sell-off. So, anyways, I didn't trade any of it. So I didn't lose my profit on it, but I could have seen how traders tried to buy dips and it just kept going lower and lower and lower. So IFBD was my first trade. And my second was a very unusual trade, VKTX. VKTX I bought at $76.86. And look at this expensive stock. I bought it right in here in this green candle. Ends up going to a high of $87 a share, 10 points from my initial entry. Not bad. Made $3,000 on it. I bought 250 share starter, and then I added as it squeezed higher to 500 shares. That was my first trade. My second trade, I took a 250 share starter and then added to 750 shares. But my first entry was right down here. And the reason I got in here was because there was a big buyer on the bid at 74. I think it was 10,000 shares, which is like a $750,000 order. So a big order on the bid. And I said, you know what? I'm going to jump in this. Let's see what it wants to do. First trade was a squeeze up to 84. It pulls back, and then got this trade right here as it pulled away from 84 and went up to 87. So 2 nice trades on that. I wouldn't typically trade this price or this float, but the stock was moving, and I felt like I could manage my risk. So at the end of the day, if you can manage your risk, it's worth taking a stab. So with relatively low risk, it did quite well on that one. And that put me up over 4,400 on the day. Then we had SPRC. SPRC, I approached with a degree of caution and skepticism, which was definitely the right move. It did not hold its gains. But when it first started to pop up, I'll show you on the 10-second chart. This thing squeezed from, and it did have news, it squeezed from about 410 here up to 418, 420, and it goes all the way up to $5.12 right here. Hits 512 on this candle right here. Was it this one? This one. And then it drops down. And as it dipped down here, I was watching the level 2, And I got a chance to take a nice little dip trade on it. I bought at 483 and it immediately popped up to a high of 527. I took some profit and then I bought another dip down here off of 5. And on this one, we actually popped up to 530 and I added on this 1 minute micro pullback or 10-second micro pullback right there. And we ended up getting a squeeze up to $6.20. So, I made $1,300 on it. Nothing crazy, but not bad. So at my peak, I was up $6,000, just about 6,000. And then PHUN came up, and because it's a reverse split, I thought I'll take a stab at it. I get in at 10, it squeezes up to 1050, and then it drops here down to 941. Fortunately, I was able to manage my risk, lost $160, not a big deal. And then WETH, this one's funny because so people were asking me if I thought this was going to make a move. And I was like, I don't really think so. And by the way, I traded it last week and I lost on it. So I don't think so. But it started to pop up. And I thought, okay, well, I like the daily chart. So if it's going to go, I'll give it a shot. And what convinced me to buy was that there was a 40,000 share buyer at $5.50. And so I bought at 565, 2,000 shares. And then, you know what happened to that buyer? Poof, gone. It just disappeared. It was a spoof. Someone put a fake order on there to probably convince people to buy, and I fell into the trap, and I lost $1,300. And I was like, you know what? That's enough of that for me. I'm going to call it a day. So after 3 consecutive losers, 2 losses here, and 1 small loss on IFBD, I said, I'm done. 6,000 was my high. $4,200 is good enough for me. That's a solid green day. Why overstay my welcome, right? When it's hot, I'm going to dig deep. I'm going to lean in. I'm going to try to be aggressive. And when it's getting choppy like this, I'm stepping out of the way. I'm not going to feed the bears. I'm not going to feed this kind of price action. I'm not going to trade it. So I think that was the right move. The only one, JANX, J-A-N-X, this was the only one really that's kept going at the open. It's also easy to borrow in a higher float, similar to VKTX. It has made a move, but I just never really broke the ice on it. It wasn't going quite as parabolic, so that's why I just didn't get into it. But it's up 200%. CXAI is up 100%, priced at $3.14. This one's gone higher. It's coming up to the 200 moving average. VKTX up almost 100%. WETG up 42%. This one's one that we've traded in the past. Has a ton of room to the 200 moving average, but right now is not set up for a good trade. I wanted to look briefly at, what was it? Let's see, there's a couple others on the scans. Just gonna check. CXAI, yep, looked at that. JANX, yep, saw that. That was good. But it's funny because thinking back on that trade on VKTX, it was the 10,000 share bidder at 74 that got me to press the buy button. But then it was a fake bid on WETH that got me to do that, and I lost. I mean, in net, there's no question that reading level 2, I'm more profitable as a result. But today, I just ended up getting caught in that trap on WETH. So that was a bummer. But yeah, so I guess there was one I was going to look at, but I can't remember now. So anyways, for me, the cleanest trade I missed this morning, which is a real shame, right at 7 a.m. Right before 7 a.m. actually, on IFBD. But, it gave back all of the gains. So this one just super weak, was not able to hold up. There's no real reason why it sold off this much, but it's down like 80% off its high. This is unreal. This is really a huge sell-off. It's a terrible candle on the daily chart. That's a giant bearish engulfing candle. So this stock is dead. It's ruined. I don't know why it had such a big sell-off, but this is what happens with a lot of these Chinese stocks. They move up and then you have the day where, the bottom falls out and they drop. And that's what happened on this one here. I mean, there's so many CT. Oh, it doesn't matter. Anyway, so overall market though, S&P 500. I glanced at the S&P 500 to kind of see where we're at. We're in an interesting channel here, kind of a tight channel, sort of like right in here. Yeah, I like this line because this connects back in this area here. And then what I'll usually do is if I find a good trend line, sometimes I'll just duplicate it and see if we're in like a perfect channel. I don't know. I guess you could maybe put one there. Sort of has support here, and then resistance here. So we're in a pretty steep channel right now. The IWM, for what it's worth, which is the small cap index, I don't look as closely at the IWM. Yes, it's a reflection of the small cap index, but I'm not trading the general stocks. I'm trading the exceptions. And there's always a couple stocks that are doing something exceptional. I mentioned earlier today that during 2020, 2021, the IWM was sideways, and I had a crazy good year. 2022, it was red. I also had a really good year. 2023, it was more or less sideways, and it was a slow year. So like based on the IWM here, you would probably say I made a lot of money here, didn't make money here, lost money here, and was like sideways here if my trading correlated, but it doesn't. It really doesn't. Not that directly. Like, yes, when the IWM was super strong, my trading was also super strong. This was during 2020. So it does correlate, I suppose, a little bit, but not to the extent that some people might think. I trade small caps, but I'm trading the stocks each day that have, a catalyst, that have some type of something that's driving the price action. And although that can be a little questionable what it is, I think it was this year with a lot of these Chinese stocks, or in the last year, that's been my focus. So anyways, today, a small green day. Well, $4,000 isn't that bad. That's a decent green day. And it's been a really solid month. This has been my biggest green month here in a while. Probably over $100,000 of profit on the month, or darn close to it. So definitely pleased with that. It always feels good to have a solid month early in the year just to sort of build that cushion. And now, if it does get slow for a couple weeks or whatever, it's like I've put a little away so I can be all right with it. Now, if you're someone who hasn't put a little profit away, I still want you to try to be okay with it being slow. Because if it's slow, how much are you going to make, right? If it's really slow, yes, you can kind of spin your wheels, you could take some trades, but realistically, you're going to make a lot more when things pick up. So the biggest battle is not incurring unnecessary losses when it's slow, not going into a big drawdown, not blowing up your account. Like, pace yourself. Hot markets will come back. They are always like this, ebb and flow. And if we think about in, 8 days earlier this month when it was really hot, in those 8 days, I made more than I might make in an entire month or 3 months even of cold markets. So when it's hot, lean in, be aggressive, try to make as much as you can. And then as soon as it cools off, pull that money out of your account so you don't lose it. Go back to small size. And then when things start to pick back up, your profits from the first couple days, your account's going to grow. And then from that, you can keep growing during the hot streak. That to me is what makes sense. So anyways, as always, my results aren't typical. This is just my experience trading, but I hope you find it interesting and helpful. And as always, I hope you hit the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you for live streaming Warrior Pro members bright and early tomorrow. And my recap I'll post later tomorrow afternoon. All right. Thanks as always for tuning in. I'll see you guys real soon.